Let's run through problem 10.3a, some equity section analysis. So we've got the shareholders equity section of Hart Inc.'s balance sheet, and we're asked some questions about it. So it says preferred shares, $6 non-cumulative, 1,500 shares issued, no par, $75,000. Common shares, 1 million authorized, 40,000 issued, no par, $80,000, and we got retained earnings and shareholders equity. The first question says, explain the concept of par value as it relates to shares. So as you saw in problem 10.2, par value is a stated minimum amount that the company is allowed to issue shares for. And as I think I would have shown, but you might not have seen, it's increasingly just an irrelevant number. When a company starts, they set the number so low, like as $1 or 1 cent, that it just doesn't matter. Now, the concept mattered a long time ago when the idea was you were worried if you were an investor that your partner might try to issue a bunch of new shares really cheap and basically play a trick on you. Play some shenanigans on you. And, if they could issue a bunch of new shares for 1 cent and you had paid $50 for your shares, you could get, screwed over. But there's legal recourse now where it's just not as much of an issue. And so a lot of companies set the par very low. And in a lot of countries, no par shares have become the norm. So par value, though, the minimum amount you're allowed to issue a share for. Anything above par gets tracked through an additional paid-in capital account. You can see for most normal companies, if they have par value shares, the additional paid-in capital account is really big, and the par value, the common shares account, tends to be smaller. How much were the preferred shares issued for? Well, we got $75,000 worth of preferred shares, 1,500 issued, $50 a share on average. Now, we could have done, 1,000 of them at, what would it be? 1,000 of them at $40 and 500 of them at 70, whatever lands us on that number. It certainly could be the case, but on average they're $50. What about the commons? Well, 40,000 issued, $80,000, so it's $2 per share. What does authorized mean? Authorized is the maximum we're legally allowed to issue unless we change something, right? Unless there's a meeting at the lawyers where the shareholders all vote and agree, let's increase the cap here. And generally speaking, when the company starts, they authorize themselves to have issue more shares than they can imagine ever needing, right? So you just do it once and you don't have to do it again. So it's the maximum number of shares that the company is allowed to issue without changing. I think it's the articles of incorporation, but changing something at the lawyer's office. What does the term non-cumulative mean when it relates to preferred shares? It means, I'll explain by cumulative. Cumulative means if they miss a dividend, they got to pay double the next year, right? So it's a $6 dividend annually. Well, if you miss this year's $6 dividend, next year you got to pay 12. If you miss 2 years in a row, the year after that, you got to pay 18, and so on. A non-cumulative dividend means if you miss this year, next year you still got to pay 6. Preferred shareholders get dividends before common shareholders. So if I want to pay my common shareholders anything, got to pay those preferred shareholders first. What amount must the preferred shareholders receive before the common shareholders can be paid a dividend? $6. Assume the company declared and paid the preferred dividend and also paid a dividend of $2 per common share. Journalize the transaction. All right, so we have 1,500 preferred shares, $6 a share. That's $9,000 of preferreds. So let's credit cash. So I don't know. They didn't give us a date. Let's say it's December 31st. Credit cash. $9,000, and we're going to debit preferred dividends. Now, again, this can be just simply debited to retained earnings as well, but we'll do preferred dividends in our class. Also, on December 31st, we paid some common dividends. Again, could debit retained earnings. The amount was $2 a share, and there's 40,000 shares, so that's $80,000 of common dividends. And we'll credit cash for $80,000. And at that point, we've solved it. We've done 10.3a. As always, hope the videos are helping, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. The next video in our series is right up here, and if you want a supercut of all of the videos in this series, that's the one down below.